On today's show, why did the LA Clippers Summer League go from 3-0 and looking to get back into the playoffs to absolute collapse? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and blah, blah, blah. Been a Clipper fan for 20 years, been covering the team for 5 on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and 3 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to know every single video we post on YouTube. And you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Oh, unfortunately, Clipper Nation, our Summer League campaign came to an end and we did not advance to the playoffs. We ended up losing our fourth and final group stage game or qualifier game, so to speak, to the Denver Nuggets. And it was almost a blowout. We made a run of it. So I'm going to be talking about those last 2 games and then who stood out for me in the Summer League for us. And then we're going to be playing a game at the end where I go over the roster and I say NBA or G League / overseas for each player. So let's begin with why I think everything changed for us. Man, if you went back and checked the episodes I did before that last game, you would have been like, man, that aged poorly, because it did. I saw we were playing against an 0-3 Denver Nuggets team, and I was like, that's going to be like taking candy from a baby. Like, we're 3-0, they're 0-3. We're about to go 4-0, and we needed to win by like a significant margin in order to advance. And not only did we not do that, we lost the game by 5 points, 81-76, but we trailed by as many as 25 points in the second half. I mean, what happened? I'll begin with the biggest thing for both games. We were playing one center in our Summer League campaign, and that was Yannick Conan Niederhauser, our 30th pick in this year's draft. When he missed the games with his back injury, I mean, I don't know how severe it was, but he was out with a back injury and missed those last 2 games. We immediately lost our lob threat, our guy that allowed screens to be set and get the defense playing a sort of coverage that wasn't just switch 1 through 5. Because what it does is when you don't have a center that's able to set screens and is a mismatch on the glass, teams are going to switch everything if your tallest guy is, for example, who we started, Patrick Baldwin. So in place of Yannick, we started Trenton Flowers. So the lineup was Xavier Simpson, Jordan Miller, Cam Christie, Trenton Flowers, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. So we have no center. So they're okay switching everything, and nobody could take advantage of smaller matchups. The Nuggets had some size out there, some length out there, good athletes, and it just became isolation for us in both games because we didn't have Yannick in both games. And, our best scorers stood out. Jordan Miller, Cam Christie, Patrick Baldwin. Those guys were the only double-figure scorers, along with Trenton Flowers, in that Nuggets game. But Trenton Flowers had a really bad shooting game, 5 for 19 from the field and 2 for 11 from 3. And when you just look at our shooting splits against the Nuggets, we shot 36% from the field, 24% from 3, 9 for 38, and 72% from the line, 13 for 18. The Nuggets shot 39% from the field. They shot the same amount of shots that we did, 75, but they made 2 more, and it was a 2-possession game. And then they made the same amount of threes with 8 less attempts. So they shot 30% from 3, and they shot better from the free throw line than us, 87.5%. So they shot better than us in all 3 shooting categories. And I think it was largely because of the way we came out. For a team that needs a win, I don't think we played with any sort of desperation. It looked like the Nuggets, if you hadn't watched the game, it looked like the Nuggets were the team that was 3-0 and we were 0-3. But again, I think the largest reason is because we didn't have Yannick to set screens and allow our offensive players to get into space. It was switch everything, which made us ISO. And let's be honest, who on our team really has a bag? Xavier Simpson had a really good handle the first 3 games, and then he looked completely spooked in this game. He looked like he had no confidence looking at the basket. And when we were making our run, because we made a run, we were down by 25, and then suddenly we started coming back when Patrick Baldwin Jr. started to score. He made a 3 to start the third quarter, had a reverse layup, had an and one. So we cut it down to 16 points going into the fourth quarter, and we had some huge opportunities that we passed up where Xavier Simpson had numbers in transition and he just made the wrong decision where it was, he should have gone in and tried to look to score, or should have tried to drive and get a defender to commit because we were on a 2-on-1. And by not doing that, the transition defender recovered and now we have no more advantage. Little things like that where he's passing up shots by not being aggressive and it's allowing the defense to recover in transition. And I thought if we had taken advantage of some of those moments, we could have won the game because Denver gave us every single opportunity to win this one with the foul they had on Cam Christie late on a 3-point shot. But yeah, overall for me, when they switched 1 through 5, it just forced us to play ISO, and no one really has a bag like that on our team. Patrick Baldwin Jr. has a lot of Michael Porter Jr. tendencies where he just every shot to him is a good shot because he can see over the top of the defender, but contested jumpers with not much separation created. I mean, yes, he can get those shots off whenever he wants, and that's a skill, but they're not going in. They're not great shots. He still ended up shooting well in this game, though. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Even though he's not great at staying in front, I noticed he got blown by a couple of times in both games. But he did have 3 steals and 3 blocks, turned the ball over 2 times, shot 7 for 13 from the field, 1 for 3 from deep, and made his only free throw in 27 minutes. So, I'll talk more about Patrick Baldwin later, but it was a tale of 2 halves for him. And Jordan Miller, he's great at getting downhill. He has that fantastic deceleration, that long or slow 1-2 step where he takes the contact and then somehow stays on balance to get the shot off as the defender gets in the air and then comes down by the time he's going up. But we don't really have a great on-ball creator, and that really hurt us. And man, that Curtis Jones, we were making him look crazy out there. He was diming up. He was knocking down threes. And I thought our defensive effort, our communication, our, closeouts, everything was just, it felt like a step behind those first 3 games. I don't know if our players had too much fun the night before this game or something, but it just didn't look like the effort level that we become accustomed to in this summer league. So the combination of EJ Liddell, Dayron Holmes, and Curtis Jones really hurt us. Curtis Jones with 13 points off the bench to go along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. Dayron Holmes at 19 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. And EJ Liddell had 8 points. So the Nuggets ended up beating us 81-76. Xavier Simpson in this game, he was 0 for 2 in 19 minutes and had 0 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. And this game, the coaching staff clearly was not happy with him because he did not start the Grizzlies game. But, for me, the Jordan Miller, he had a very solid game. He kept us in it with his scoring. I thought Max Christie was doing well defensively, getting his hands active. And we've talked about Max Christie. I keep saying Max Christie. Cam Christie's defense throughout this summer league, how active he's been, how he's had a point to prove. But, he hit a 3, had a nice cut to the basket, had some deflections. And by the way, the Nuggets were just hitting threes in the first half too. But yeah, so we got outscored 21-11 after the first and then 25-16 in the second. So we were down 46-27 at halftime, and then we outscored them in the second half. Third quarter, we had them 27-24. Then the fourth quarter, 22-11. Part of what got us back in the game was a zone we went to. They were making threes, but they were just different kinds of threes now where they weren't getting in the paint as much. And it's just a different look to make the offense feel a little different. And that's what we did. As far as our offense, though, man, we took some bad shots throughout the game. Like, I talked about Patrick Baldwin Jr.'s shot selection, but Trenton Flowers, he couldn't hit, but was also taking some contested threes. Times where we could have been more patient, in my opinion, working the ball around to try to get a good shot. But got back in the game. had that last possession where Patrick Baldwin Jr. catches the ball in transition and could have made the extra swing to Trenton Flowers, but he had tunnel vision, didn't get it off. So that was that. Trenton Flowers shot 5 for 19, as I mentioned, and 2 for 11 from three. I'm sorry, but if you've missed that many threes, I think you shouldn't. But again, see, like the coaches nowadays will just say to keep shooting, but I think when you're 2 for 11, you got to get something different. And then Cam Christie, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. He did turn the ball over 3 times, however, and he shot very poorly. 6 for 17 from the field, 2 for 10 from three. So between Trent and Cam, we were 4 for 21 from deep, which is no good. And then Jordan Miller, he was our leading scorer with another double-double, 23 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers on 6 for 13 shooting, 2 for 7 from three, and 9 for 11 from the free throw line. I mean, Jordan Miller I haven't seen too many new things from his game. He hasn't really gotten better with his right hand to me. His three-point shooting is still not great, but he's still very good at what he does, which is get in the paint, get fouled, get to the free throw line, and get buckets around the basket at this level, at least. I just don't know if it translates to the NBA level. And then Kobe Sanders, he only had 3 points off the bench in 23 minutes. He was 1 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from three, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. 3 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists stat line for him. My one positive is I think he did a good job getting 2 feet in the paint. And then the last game was a disaster. A lot of the same. Got absolutely whooped by Memphis, 105-82. 5 turnovers in the first 4 minutes. We had a little 14-1 run after that, after being down 9-4. We were up 23-22 after one, but then we collapsed in the second quarter and got outscored 33-11, and then got outscored 25-19 in the third. And I think by halftime, that was basically all she wrote. So yeah, 105-82, another game where we just small ball all the way, and we kind of rested our guys at that point. But by the way, Pulikitas 0 for 7. I mean, he could not hit the broadside of a barn in Summer League. But Patrick Baldwin had 10 points on 2 for 7 shooting and was 0 for 5 from 3 in the final game. Trenton Flowers, 7 points, 4 boards, 3 assists on 2 for 6 shooting in the final game, 0 for 1 from 3. We were 8 for 31 from 3 in the final game. Cam Christie, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals on 6 for 15 shooting and 3 for 7 from 3 in the final game. So I actually thought he was pretty good. Then Kobe Sanders had 7 points on 3 for 11 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3 in the final game. And then Jordan Miller, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 for 11 from the field, and 2 for 2 from 3. Coming up, going to be talking about the standouts of Summer League and evaluating all our picks and their performances. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball or you're about the WNBA or high-stakes soccer, the Club World Cup just finished and my Chelsea just won. How about that? Club team, best in the world. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling with FanDuel, where you can get in on the game, you can get in on the odds for next year's MVP and get ahead of the game right now. How about the Clippers? In terms of the championship, we're not super high on the odds, but we're higher on the Lakers. Right now, we are 8th on FanDuel in the odds. So why don't you go hit that plus 1,700 Clips chip. How about for the conference? In terms of the West, we're currently 5th behind the Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, and Wolves. So where do you go to do that? FanDuel. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, so the Clippers Summer League campaign comes to an end at 3-2. I can't lie, I actually got kind of sad when we were losing, because this Summer League team, it kind of meant a lot to me because it was, my first time being a credentialed media member, and I got to actually stand next to these guys and talk to some of these guys. So I was really hoping for the best, especially because, we've literally never won anything in our history as the Clippers. No in-season tournament, no Summer League. So I was hoping maybe we could celebrate some kind of a chip here. Lost in the semifinals last year. We were that close to being 4-0. And I still think we would have needed more points. I think if we had won, it wouldn't have been semifinal appearance, but whatever. Talking about the standouts, though, from our Summer League campaign, I think when you take a look at it, Jordan Miller has to be the standout. He was able to score the ball very consistently throughout the throughout the 5 games. He showed us basically what he showed us last summer, that he can get to the basket. He can get to that left hand. He has that great deceleration that I talked about earlier. He gets to the free throw line. He does a great job using his body, but he's not going to be an on-ball creator right now at the summer league, I'm sorry, at the NBA level. And with our team, and we've got 11 deep right now, he's not getting into the rotation. And of course, we waived him. But if he, for me, did he do a good enough job to show that the Clippers need to sign him? I don't know. Did he do a good enough job to show that he's good enough to play in the NBA? I think he did. I really think he did. 23 points against the Nuggets, 24 points against the Memphis Grizzlies. And see, I don't know why, but I cannot find anywhere online that has the stats of our summer league players like all together. But Jordan Miller had 23 points in the opening game against Houston. Like, this guy consistently was scoring 21 points in the game against Milwaukee. And then the final game was the Laker game where he scored 19 points. So that was his lowest scoring game, was 19 points. He was very consistent in getting to that. Then I would say Cam Christie. I thought Cam Christie did a really good job of showing his improvement. He was more efficient. His defense was better, moving his feet, getting active with his hands off the ball. He looked more athletic, like more springy. He was getting to the basket, finishing around the basket better, attacking closeout. So just being more aggressive as a scorer. You know, I like that at the end of that Denver game, we drew up the play for Cam Christie to get the 3. Yes, it didn't go in, but I just liked, as I said, his overall aggression. His confidence looked like it had increased. So that was great to see from our guy, from our draft pick in 2024. Patrick Baldwin Jr., I mean, he's on the 2-way contract right now. And I liked what I saw from him. I just think he needs to, he has those MPJ tendencies where he hasn't seen a bad shot, but he can't just be a gunner. I feel like every time the ball goes into him, it's going up. And as a teammate, that's not the type of guy you want to play with when you know that if you give the ball to him, you're not getting it back. And yes, he's the type of guy that can shoot the lights out. And, to him, nothing's a bad shot because he can get the shot off of anyone and he's a good shooter. So if he has a clean look, it doesn't matter where he's at. He thinks that's a good shot. Unfortunately, the percentages say otherwise. And, contested jumpers, the defense will always live with. So right now, we got Kobe Sanders, Trenton Flowers, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. on the 2-way. But in terms of my standouts, I would say Jordan Miller, Cam Christie, and overall Patrick Baldwin Jr. But, with the way, and it sucks that we didn't get to see anything from Kobe Brown in this summer league. That really sucked because we saw a little bit in that first game. He had 12 points, injured his ankle, and that was that. And he's one of the players that's actually on a standard contract. He's making technically more than Chris Paul. According to Spotrac, he's making $2,654,888, whereas Chris Paul's making $2,296,274. Man, what a good deal. But that was unfortunate that we didn't get to see Kobe Brown. Trenton Flowers, I mean, he's on the 2-way contract. I think he's a good guy to keep around because he's so athletic. Offensively, he's leaving a little bit to be desired. But again, these guys are all supposed to be players in the NBA that are probably feeding off of stars and other better players. So who knows what they could be like in that role. But you need to see better 3-point shooting, I think, to be trusted in that role. And they're not going to be trusted in that role this year. But Cam Christie looks, I don't know, he looks like the player that I would say I'm most confident about being an NBA player is Cam Christie. But Jordan Miller, I think it's unfortunate for him that we have those 2-way contracts. I don't think we're going to release any one of those guys, even though Jordan Miller to me is a better player than those guys right now. You see it in the production, but he's on the older side. And I just hope that a team picks him up because he's a really good kid. He's a good basketball player, but he's already 25 years old. And he's not breaking into our rotation this year. Whereas Cam Christie, for example, is 20. And I also thought, Jordan Miller's defense wasn't bad. He has active hands, he has long arms. I would take Jordan Miller if I'm a team, like especially a team that's like tanking or something. Bring him on board. So let me see. Jordan Miller, he has a 7-foot wingspan. So, I mean, he looks taller than 6'5" in real life, but he is only 6'5" at the end of the day. Yeah, 6'11", and it's a 6'11" wingspan. That's pretty impressive. But anyway, 6'11.75 to be exact. But anyway, coming up, going to be playing a little game called NBA or G League. Oh, I was going to say the last thing. Yes, he didn't quite stand out, but based on how badly we played without Yannick, yeah, he stood out. Coming up, going to be playing a game, NBA or G League. Coming up. All right. So the LA Clippers finished their summer league campaign 3-2. In terms of their summer league roster, who do I think is an NBA player? Who do I think is an overseas or a G League guy? Well, first, let's begin with Jordan Miller. Actually, no, let's go with Kobe Brown. Obviously, NBA. He's an NBA player, but here's my thing. We haven't really seen him get extended burn at any point. He might not be an NBA player. We need to see him on a bad team to see if he really is. That's my God honest truth. He's an NBA player based on the fact that he's getting paid in the NBA and he's on a standard contract. But I still don't know if Kobe Brown is a true NBA player. Then you've got Jordan Miller. I do think he's an NBA player. I do. I think his gift to score the basketball and get to the foul line, even though it's the summer league, it's the level right below the NBA. I think you got to see Jordan Miller like as a bench player for a not so great team. That's my opinion. I think he is an NBA player though. And look, summer league is not easy to score in, and he had 19 points, at least 19 points in every game. So for me, he's an NBA player. Then you've got Patrick Baldwin Jr. He's an NBA player to me. He's still just 22 years old. He's 6'9", and can shoot that way. I think his biggest thing is going to be shot selection, calming down, not just throwing him up there, showing coaches that he can pass the ball and see the floor. That'll be the biggest thing for Patrick Baldwin Jr., in my opinion, and then continuing to improve his on-ball defense and his ability to put the ball on the floor. But I do think Patrick Baldwin Jr. is an NBA player. Isaiah Brockington, I don't even remember seeing him play. Jawan Gary played the last game. I'm not going to comment on those guys because we didn't see much of them. Jamil Telford, I think G League or overseas. I just didn't see enough. Xavier Simpson, he's on the older side. He's actually older than me. He's overseas. He's already been playing overseas. He's not an NBA player. He's just a little too small and not enough to make up for that lack of size. John Poulikitis, I definitely think G League or overseas. I mean, all I saw was him shooting and missing. But I would assume he's a good shooter if he had that kind of green light, but just didn't translate in the games. Kobe Sanders, I really do think is an NBA player because his ability to get 2 feet in the paint was something that stood out to me. He plays off 2 feet, so he doesn't get too many, doesn't run into too much trouble. He tries to get in the paint, tries to make plays. He's tall. His shooting will take some time, will need some time, but for me, Kobe Sanders is an NBA player. I like what I saw from him. Big guard, 2 feet in the paint, playing off 2 feet, playing at his own pace. I liked it. Yannick, I do think he's actually an NBA player. He's just so athletic. That dunk, those two dunks he had against the Lakers, that was enough for me to say he's got NBA athleticism, and now it's just a matter of, can the game slow down for him? Can he improve his touch? He's going to be in the G League this year, but I do think there's an NBA player in there. But working on his touch, pick and roll defense, that's all going to be the next step for Yannick. Trenton Flowers. Oh, man. Right now, I think he's a G Leaguer, but he's got the athleticism to play in the NBA. It's just the skill. What kind of player can he be? He didn't show enough on-ball creation. His shooting didn't, totally sell me. If he only shot open threes, I think that would help. But he's 6'9" with a 42-inch vertical. Hopefully, he could find his way in the G League and realize what kind of player he is. Because I'm not quite sure what kind of player he is. Clearly, he can go out there and play defense. But offensively, where does he fit in? And then you've got Cam Christie, who I think is for sure an NBA player. He showed that offensive improvement in terms of his confidence. His form is good shooting the ball, but his defense got a lot better. And I think you can really see him being very similar to his brother. And his brother's going to be an NBA player for a while, I think. So overall, fun summer league. It was enjoyable to get to see more of what our guys were all about, get to see more of our young players. And I appreciate everybody for joining me on this journey, which was my first time being a media member for anything related to the Clippers or basketball, so a credentialed one. So awesome experience. This summer league team will always hold a special place in my heart, and I truly hope that Jordan Miller does find a place somewhere in this league because he's a really solid player and a good kid, and I hope Kobe Brown's good soon. But overall, I was pretty happy with Yannick and Kobe Sanders, all things considered. I feel like I'd be a lot more disappointed usually, but I liked what I saw from Kobe Sanders' ability to get 2 feet in the paint consistently and his size, and then Yannick's freakish athleticism and his agility. Like, with the ball in his hands, he didn't look too bad. It's just his touch around the basket. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, NBA playoff, and NBA content. Yes, I'm still releasing some playoff content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Gonna have an episode coming out next about Lawrence Frank's comments after signing Bradley Beal and after signing Chris Paul and what they say about his intentions and backtracking on some things that he said before. So that'll be on the next episode. The age-old proverb continues, go Clippers. Keep subscribing to this channel on the road to 8K.